Welcome to Close the Door and Come Here, a Song of Ice and Fire podcast with heavy leanings towards our two favorite characters, Jaime and Brienne.
There was a bear, all black and brown and covered in hair. From there to here, from here to there, the maiden fair.
Hi, I'm Clotho, and you can find me at Clotho Spindle on Blue Sky Social. And today I'm joined with Devin.
Hey, this is Devin, GD Harpo on Blue Sky.
And Chicky.
Hey, I am Chicky, and I'm in Chicky on Blue Sky.
We're going to be discussing Tyrion's third chapter in A Dance with Dragons, all the usual trigger warnings for rape and any talk of violence in the series. So Tyrion wakes to find that the litter they're riding in has halted. He climbs out, and Illyrio's talking to two riders, who we meet are Haldon Halfmeister and Sir Rowley Duckfield, who they call Duck. They briefly discuss supplies. Illyrio's kind of given them these kind of different items and things that they're going to carry with them on horseback, so it couldn't be that much, but we find out later it's like clothing and things like that. Illyrio introduces Tyrion as YOLO, and Tyrion thinks it sounds ridiculous, so he kind of quickly is like, this is not believable. And he's like, this only my name in Pentos. He tells them that his birth name is actually Hugor Hill, which I don't think sounds any more believable, but
why does he pick Hill? Hill is the bastard name for the Westerlands, which is like, are you automatically connecting yourself to just call yourself Tyrion Lannister?
There.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. Too. Halden is kind of in sort of little way, like, it seems like he's always interrogating Tyrion, and they have this exchange, sort of rapid banter back and forth, and they're each kind of, it seems like trying to feel out how deep the other's knowledge of history is. Tyrion's riding with Duck. They kind of just prop him up on top. They explain he doesn't have his particular saddle or, the horse he's used to. So this is their solution for that. And he's not very comfortable. As they're kind of riding off, I guess. And I think it sounds like Halden kind of took off before them. And like they're back here. Illyrio's sending his greetings to young Griff and his apologies for missing the wedding.
Okay. So I got to talk about this. So I know that there's a theory that that he is actually, young Griff's dad. That actually like Illyrio, the mistress wife that he talks about that he kept the hands of. Oh God, this fucking asshole. The one whose hands he cut off and kept when she died.
She's yes, the creepy.
Why don't I remember? Jesus,
the mummy hands. Oh my God,
yeah. Devin, you missed the last recording. You didn't notice.
I have forgotten all about this.
And we don't know what he does with those mummy hands. It's all kinds of gross. Yeah.
So we don't know why he kept them, or what he does with them. But yes, she had the light blonde hair and the purple eyes, I think. So that is why there's this fan theory that Illyrio is in fact young Griff's father with this, dead. Did he end up marrying her? I can't remember.
Oh, I don't remember even. I don't know if they were fiancé. Like, I don't even know if it got that far. Yeah.
I don't know if she was his mistress or his. I think he did marry her. Did marry her. So anyway, yes, the theory is that she was his mother. Because if you notice, Illyrio seems very, sad sack about not being there for this big moment for young Griff. And is it just because of the historic nature? Because they think he's going to marry Dany, and that is a big deal, or is it like it seems personal though?
Tyrion specifically says his shoulder slumps and he seems like almost defeated. Like the way he describes it seems sad.
Yeah, and noted that there was like a sadness in his voice, and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That makes total sense. Yeah, because I was wondering about that too as I was reading. It's like, how did he get to be so attached to this? I mean, I get it. You get attached to people, but he seemed particularly attached to this young man.
Well, I think regardless, he helped raise him. I think that's kind of, that he did help raise him. But yeah, the fact that he's so upset, it kind of implies perhaps Perhaps that's a story. I don't know. We'll never know, I guess.
And he assures him, like, because right after as they say goodbye, he assures them, he swears that he's going to rejoin them in Westeros. So yeah, it does sound a little bit more than just like.
Yeah, it's personal because this is the whole thing. It's like Illyrio's got a pretty good goddamn situation.
Right.
Why is he dead set on getting to Westeros if it weren't for something like putting his son on the
people
throne?
that are not related to him, or
yes,
bond,
yeah.
I think that could be legit theory. And so okay, as they travel, and we're getting further into this, they're talking about these rover pirates, and the Shrouded Lord comes up, also known as his Grey Grace, and he's kind of said to rule over a foggy stretch of the Royne River called the Sorrows. And the whole thing sounds pretty kind of interestingly creepy, but there's this disease, they're spreading grayscale, and this idea that he spreads it through his gray kiss. Tyrion's like, a lot of people think this is a myth, but it's really freaking him out because this is, diseases, they know this disease exists, so that's the realness of it. It's like, it doesn't matter if this is all just a myth. There's people lurking around grayscale.
Like a neon sign flashing, like, foreshadowing.
Oh gosh. And Duck kind of goes into this story of how he came to be knighted by Griff and ended up, training young Griff. Some of that's a little weird. Like, because he killed somebody and
yeah.
Oh man. Or did he stab somebody? I can't remember if he just injured him really bad, but yeah.
I think he just beat him up.
Yeah, I think he beat him up.
Okay, so and he explains the funny part is he's talking about this sort of, I don't know, I was imagining this is sort of sunset, who knows, but it was like this. He said he was in his field when he was being knighted, so it's like he looks up and he sees a duck, and that's how it's got Duck Field, and so I thought that was kind of cool. Oh gosh, but so. After moonrise, it's very picturesque. It's like Tyrion's admiring. They're riding on this old Valyrian road, and it's actually, it's described as sort of glimmering in front of them, and one of the wonders of the world. And Tyrion's talking about how he sort of memorized these when he was a child, and he talks about his uncle Jerry and sort of propping him on the table, and he would talk about everything he memorized, and it was kind of like. It seems sort of like heartfelt from him, but then, of course, there's a horrible Tywin story here because when he turned 16, he's like, my uncles were the same age when they got to travel the world. And understandably, it's something, with his interest, he wanted to travel the world. And Tywin's like, okay, you can go, but it would shame me, and you're free to go if you pay your own way, which immediately that shuts him down, because how could you afford world travel? People can't even do it now. So it's like, certainly in that world, there would be no way that he could Well,
and I love how this is kind of like a hint of, so much of Dance for Tyrion is Tyrion finding out, understandably, having dealt with all the ableism that he's dealt with, Tyrion has felt like an underdog his whole life. He's felt like he's really been shafted. Life has really been tough for Tyrion. And I'm not disputing it. It has been tough. Like his family's been, not his whole family. His father and his sister have been fucking assholes to him. No question. He gets a lot of shit from a lot of people. He doesn't get taken seriously when he should. All of this is absolutely true. Experiences just constant ableism. No question that this is true. But at the same time, fucking Tyrion is the son of like the most powerful man in Westeros. Let's just call a spade a spade. It was Tywin. He is a child of the richest family, and he's had gobs of money. And you see that here, where even when he was a 16-year-old, he knew he didn't want to do without that money. He knew on some level how much his life was not as bad as it could be because of what he still was entitled to. And you kind of see that he kind of on some level always has known that he didn't have it quite as bad as he could have. And this book is very much about Tyrion finding out just how good he actually did have it. It's kind of like in a Game of Thrones when Jon gets to the wall and he's like, oh shit, my whole life I've thought everything was terrible because I was the bastard. And he's like, I didn't even know what bad was until I got here. And that's exactly what's happening.
No clue how much everything could suck without the privileges I've been afforded.
Exactly that. And that is what Tyrion is experiencing right now. And And I love that there's just this little hint that on some level Tyrion always did know how much worse it could be.
Yeah. Because, I mean, at least you could say in one sense of all the things he's done, even at that time, he had the sense that, like, what probably would have happened to him if he had attempted to on his own, which he probably would have ended up in a situation like the troop that Penny was with. You know what I mean? He would have probably had to do things like that.
Yeah.
And that's
to
at
get by.
best.
Yeah. Oh,
At
right.
best, yeah.
He'd just be killed.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah, surely.
For no other reason than being a dwarf, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so instead, at the time, like he's a Tyrion, he was put in charge of all the drains and the cisterns within Casterly Rock, and he makes his little quip about, the drains never ran smoother than when he was in charge of them. So yeah. Like it is kind of like that. It's like you're reading about it, it's like and it sucks, and it's everybody has their own personal experience growing, but it's still, gosh. Even what he's going through now on the road, he's gonna start experiencing it.
I mean, Tywin definitely was shoveling shit at him the whole time, for sure.
Yeah.
There's no question. But yeah. It's so funny because people use this so often to say that Tyrion will for sure be the one who conquers Casterly Rock through the sewer system, also because he knows it so well. So.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So we actually have a piece of mail that kind of for this first part of the chapter that we've already discussed fits perfectly. So from Green Mountain Woman on Reddit, there's some foreshadowing in this chapter, which, given George's writing style, may end up meaning something or nothing. Nothing, obviously, since we're never getting T-Wow. Tyrion muses that he fears grayscale more than death. Do you think he might develop grayscale? Also, what part do you think the drains and cisterns of Casterly Rock could play?
I think the grayscale is just there as a foreshadowing for what's going to happen to Jon Connington. I think, and also to remind us what grayscale is, because I think we all think there's probably a grayscale pandemic coming in the non-existent Winds of Winter. I kind of doubt it's Tyrion. I mean, Tyrion's had enough physical whatever. It just, I don't know.
That would just feel cruel at that point.
Yeah, and pointless. Like, what would that add?
Yeah, why?
Yeah, I don't know.
But that is interesting about the drains, yeah.
Yes, definitely think he will aid in the taking of Casterly Rock by being familiar with those drains.
In book 12 of A Song of Ice and Fire.
Oh my gosh.
Which I would love. It sounds kind of, as gross as it is, it actually kind of sounds like that would be interesting. Like the idea of them being, caves and stuff are fascinating. Casterly Rock is fascinating. We haven't been there yet. It would be really pretty. That would actually
and just those things that give you advantages in warfare that you wouldn't think of.
Yeah. That
would be cool. They're riding all night, and in the morning they reach the Little Ruin, as they call it. Kind of talk about like this town. I forget the name of it, but like this kind of the parts of it were sort of people still living amongst these sort of ruins, and they're traveling through there, and he knows that he's getting stares and stuff and looks, and they eventually reach this. They're sort of, I guess it sounded like they were sort of traveling along the water. They reached where the cabin, they could see the top of the cabin of the small pole boat, and young Griff, boy of about 15 to 16, described with hair that's dyed dark blue. He greets them. He's standing on the roof, and this boat is called the Shy Maid. He sees his father, quote unquote, Griff, and he could tell he's not pleased when he sees Tyrion. There's a little brief introduction, but they're like, okay, here's a letter from Illyrio, and he's like, you're coming with me. Takes him to the cabin. And after
I love how Tyrion talks about this, like when he meets Jon Con. Sorry, I'm going to call him Jon Con because I honestly see his name written more than I ever hear it out loud, and that is how everyone in fandom refers to him. This is Jon Connington, undercover, calls himself Griff because his family seat was the Griffin's Roost, something like that. Anyway, so Jon Con, it's funny because like Tyrion's kind of like been taking the measure of everyone around him everywhere he goes. And, these guys that he's with, he's like, oh, okay, I kind of get what they are. They're fine, whatever. But it's funny how immediately he takes Jon Connington way more seriously before he's even sure who he is.
He's like, oh, he's a problem.
Yeah, he's like, oh, this is a serious dude. This is somebody to take seriously.
It's kind of, he won't even let him, I'll get to that too, but he kind of won't even let him read, he's read this letter, so Tyrion doesn't get to see what's in it, but he knows that he's been told that Tyrion, he asks him, did you truly kill Tywin? And Tyrion responds, and I'll read this part a little easier than the script driving all of it. At my finger, this one. Tyrion held it up for Griff to admire. Lord Tywin was sitting on a privy, so I put a crossbow bolt through his bowels to see if he really did shit gold. He didn't. A pity. I could have used some gold. I also slew my mother somewhat earlier. Oh, and my nephew Joffrey. I poisoned him at his wedding feast and watched him choke to death. Did the cheesemonger leave that part out? I mean to add my brother and sister to the list before I'm done, if it please your queen. Yeah, so that little he laid it all out on the table, adding his little flourishes in there.
Yeah, it's which is smart of Tyrion to do. I mean, Tyrion always kind of is pretty good at reading people and how he should treat them and the best way to deal with them. He's absolutely right to be, balls to the wall with Jon Connington here, I think, because Jon Connington is the kind of person who at least he wants to at least know that he's dealing with someone honest, even if they're a villain or whatever. And so that was smart of Tyrion to play it this way. I wonder if Tyrion knew that Illyrio was going to tell them who he really was. I don't remember if he mentioned that in the last chapter, but you kind of get the feeling that Tyrion's a little surprised in the moment that, this letter has revealed everything about him after Tyrion had to come up with, his second little nom de plume here. So, yeah, I don't know.
And he wanted to. Tyrion asked to read the letter, but Griff's like, nope. I mean, Jon Connington immediately burns it. Yep.
Definitely more in it than just about you, Tyrion.
Mm-hmm. And pretty much right off, he's like, he tells Tyrion, Illyrio has to have taken leave of his senses if he thinks that the queen would be happy with a kinslayer and a betrayer. And he wants to know, why is he supporting Daenerys' cause? And Tyrion just, again, with the sort of blatant honesty, states he's motivated by gold and hate. And promoting his knowledge and networking skills, as ways that he'll be able to serve her in Westeros. And Jon Connington agrees to take him as far as Volantis as a sort of probationary period. But he's going to have the final say if Tyrion even makes it to the queen.
Yeah, can I just say on some level how funny I find it that Jon Connington thinks he has the right to gatekeep anything for Daenerys. It's so funny. I mean, knowing Dany as you know Dany, it's just it's kind of I don't know. It's funny these people who presume.
It reads as if he's already met her and he's out doing her work right now.
Yes, it does, doesn't it? Yes.
I was like, wait a minute, why does he get to make that decision?
He's like, I'm going to be the father-in-law. I'll do what I want.
Obviously, she's going to listen to me, and it's like, oh, buddy, you don't know.
Oh man. Yeah. And before they all go to sleep, Tyrion, we're wrapping it up here, but Tyrion makes one last kind of joke about casting doubt on whether Dany even has dragons. He's like, what is, this could be like all the other myths. Like, what if this is exaggeration? And Griff/Jon warns him to guard his tongue. They aren't playing a game for his amusement. And Tyrion thinks, of course it is. It's the Game of Thrones. And that's where we end up here. I don't have anything to add.
You know what I was thinking when I read that last little bit there, where I was like, George was wrapping this up literally as they were, I think, getting ready to or they were airing the first season of A Game of Thrones, and I was like, he literally just dropped that name back in there just 100% because of that stupid show. I know the truth. I know it. I know it in my bones.
Oh gosh. I don't feel like we got a ton in this chapter.
That's the thing. I come away from this chapter and I look at the 13 or 14, however many Tyrion has in this book, and I'm just like, you couldn't have combined some of this? Oh gosh.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, these first 3 chapters of Tyrion, is this the third? What are we on?
This is the third one, and those first 3 is really
75th Tyrion chapter. Yeah, no, we definitely you could have combined all 3 of these chapters into one. I mean, maybe a longer chapter, maybe one of his, a little bit longer chapters, but Oh Lord. I mean, it's just, the details are interesting when you have how many years are we at? When you have 14 years between books. To mull over the details, they do get a little bit more interesting. I'll give you that. But just there's a breadth of detail here that we don't really need to get through the story, and there's a number of characters here that we also just don't need. I mean, we're just coming off of a Quentin chapter where we had a whole bunch of new characters introduced, and now we're in Tyrion chapters. And I mean, yeah, we already knew Illyrio, but now we got to meet a whole bunch of new people. And it's just how much am I supposed to hold in my brain at the same time while I'm reading a book? There are only so many characters you can expect me to remember from one chapter to the next.
And when everybody's traveling vast amount of sea or land, they're running so many people.
Yes.
Well, and the thing is, sorry, go ahead, Devin.
Well, I was just thinking of it in contrast to the Quentin chapter that we just did. And I think the only thing that I at least come away with for Tyrion is that at least this fits the larger narrative. At least Tyrion does have a, purpose that is coming. It's just, I think he did too much to get there.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, we all want to see Tyrion get to Dany. We should probably have seen Tyrion kill Tywin and then seen him pop up in Meereen. That is what should have happened. Whatever his intervening story could have been, he could have popped up with Jorah. It would have been interesting.
Yes, and he can tell some of this in an aside while telling
exactly,
it to Jorah, or whatever. However, he could have worked it in. Yes,
Well, it's just POV. We can hear him reminisce about it. Spend 8 pages in one of his POVs reminiscing about his little journey across Eskia. There are so many other ways to do this, and the thing is, George used to know how to do that. That when you read a Game of Thrones and a Clash of Kings and even into a Storm of Swords, that's something George knew how to do. He knew how to have people pop back up somewhere else. I mean, he does it quite a bit in the earlier books, and yet here he just wants us to see everything that happens to everybody. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's that his editors stopped pushing back. I don't know what it is, but dear God, we don't need to see we just don't need to see all this. That's just what it comes down. It's not that I don't. Of all the things that we've seen in Tyrion's first 3 chapters, I will say the Jon Connington and Fake Aegon stuff is the most interesting to me because it does tie into the overall underpinning lore of the whole story. We're getting into Robert's rebellion stuff, which that is interesting. So it's there's a little bit of this that you could keep, but it's just Jesus Christ, we don't need it all. But I will say, I to give George a little bit of an out, I know that he writes now the way that he writes his POVs, and he'll write them several chapters in a row. So he'll be writing Tyrion and he'll write several Tyrion chapters and not really dip into anyone else's chapters. So I think maybe what happens is he gets in one POV and he gets lost in that as a self-contained story, and he kind of forgets that he's inserting these into a book with chapters of other it's not that he forgets that he has other characters, but I'm wondering if that's something that he didn't. I don't know that he always wrote that way with his POV. Maybe he wrote 2 or 3 in a row, but he's gotten to the point where he's clearly writing most of a book in a row with a character if he can. And I'm wondering if maybe that has contributed in some way to the way that some of these stories individual POV stories have just gotten so out of control. I don't know. Just a theory.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, that would be a good explanation for it. Did we have any mail for this chapter?
Yes, so we do have a couple pieces of mail for this chapter. So our first from Buck O'Hare on Discord. Who is your favorite member of Team Griff? Duck's my favorite. It's mostly just because of the name.
Yeah. I mean, I like
the story of when he was knighted.
Oh yeah, that actually was good. I really don't mind Team Griff at all. This is actually, this is one of my least annoying things.
Yeah.
Of the things that Tyrion's going to experience in this book, this is probably the best little bit for me.
This is the best, the most fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff to like here, particularly compared to what he gets into later.
Jesus Christ, yes.
That was quite an understatement. Our next piece of mail from Iruna on Tumblr. What do you think the point of the whole Tyrion completely fails to conceal who he is bit? Illyrio sent a letter with him informing Griff of his identity, so was it only for the journey? If so, why have Tyrion actually every several times and naming himself a Lannister bastard and making most of the chapter about Tyrion giving himself away so obviously? Also, I imagine that Illyrio would know better than Tyrion which name to give, so there has to be a reason he chose YOLO, right?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. That's so funny, Aruna, that you anticipated exactly what we were talking about the whole time.
Exactly.
I hadn't actually read that piece of mail. I did not know that.
God.
I don't know what the point was. I mean, on some level, I mean, Tyrion says this, I think, in his first or second chapter in this book, which is, yes, because there are so many other Westerosi dwarfs without a nose in the world. I mean, he's so distinctive physically. It's just going to be very obvious who he is. I think that I think he realizes that it's silly to try to hide it, but I don't know.
Because you would think
know what the point is.
Halden, at very least, even if it went over Duck's head, Halden would have picked up on it because he's pretty well read, and he's also educated, and
you would think. You would think.
Yeah. It's funny. It is funny.
Also, from Aruna on Tumblr, what do you think will happen when Tyrion meets Dany? I can't imagine his clever quips about serving her with his tongue going down well.
What?
I think, here's what I will say about Tyrion with Dany is, I think Tyrion, unlike a lot of the men who deal with Dany, probably will recognize that she is still a child, really. I mean, that she's so young. I mean, what is she, 15 now? Is she 16 yet?
Yeah,
I mean, I think Tyrion probably will give a little more space to that reality than a lot of other people would. And another thing I will say, I think about Tyrion is much of a misogynist as he can be. I don't think he will underestimate her in person the way that a lot of these guys do, personally.
Yeah, that was going to be my main thing. I don't think he'll underestimate her. That's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as skeptical as he is about the dragons and, all that, I think once he meets her and sees them, and he'll be able to assess the situation pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the caveat there would be, as long as he doesn't immediately fall in love with her and get blinders on like he did with Shay. Which I hope doesn't happen.
That's not happening. I've been afraid, but that's not happening.
Nothing is happening, thank God. I've been afraid for several years that is what will happen, and I'm just like, oh Jesus Christ, I can't deal with that.
Right, because kind of in the show, kind of. I mean, if I don't know if that's in the books.
It felt for a minute. What was that, like season 6? It felt
that they were gonna do something very fucking weird.
Yeah, and dear God, and I mean, like, George, 100% not above doing something disgusting like that. I hope he's fucking changed his mind. That's all I have to say about that.
and I also think Tyrion will realize, oh, I can help her. Like I can actually help and be of purpose. I think he'll have that realization once he meets her as well.
Yeah, I think he'll understand how he could actually work with her when he meets her. Well, and because, like, we're talking about the other good thing about Tyrion, he's so accustomed to dealing with people with gobs and gobs of power. He doesn't really have any illusions about it the way some people do too, which also probably would be good for how well he would do dealing with her.
Oh, yes, definitely. Another piece of mail, another from Green Mountain Woman on Reddit. I've read lots of speculation on the identity of young Griff, aka Aegon, and also about the mysterious Septa Lemore, but nothing about Halden Halfmaester. Could he have a past which might mean something? Love the podcast.
Well, as we've established, George has completely fleshed out every minor character. So yes, I'm sure that they do have stories that could potentially mean something. I mean, at this point, I don't trust George not to grab any minor character that has ever existed in these books and make a big deal around them. I mean, it's entirely possible. I don't know. I know there are a lot of Septa Lemore theories. I don't know.
I don't know. There has to be something about Halden Halfmaester out there.
Yeah, they're
had to come up with at this point, because there's something about everybody.
And what is the theory about her? She's the septa that appeared on the Jaime. Is that her?
Yeah, well, some people think that she might be Griff's mom, young Griff's mom. That is a theory about
that
her.
She's a Shara Dane.
That is also a theory. Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's like the main one that I've always known of. Yeah.
Okay. So there's all kinds of
and that's the other problem. Or not. It's a problem at this point. But like with George not finishing, is that just so many theories out there that just over the years you've kind of seen, like I've seen some just eat away at fandom because people fall on one side or the other. Some of which are even just trivial, and it's like I don't think that really matters. And like that's just part of the problem with these books not being finished yet.
Yeah, amen to that.
Fan wars.
It's just the ongoing,
meaningless fan wars.
Yes.
And what is the consensus on? Is the young Griff? Do people lean towards, or there's never been confirmation like that they think he's a fake Aegon, or is he?
Well, I think part of it is Dany has that vision in the House of the Undying. What is it? The Mummer's Dragon?
A Mummer's Dragon. Mm-hmm.
Is that right, Davin? Is that what it is? Yeah, she has a vision of a Mummer's Dragon. Mummer is in like fake, like like people putting on a play or something. Mummers, and I think we all kind of just assume that that's what Aegon is here because I don't know. It feels like that would really be something for Tywin to have let that slip through the cracks. On the other hand, as we've established, Tywin maybe not the genius we always thought he was. So who knows? But
because I mean, the whole theory would be that they switched him at birth, right? That Elia wouldn't even have known. That's kind of a big stretch.
No, the theory actually is that she did know and she did it on purpose.
Oh, because she was holding.
She was holding a baby when the mountain came.
Oh, how horrible to do that!
The mountain supposedly the mountain smashes Aegon's head against a wall and kills him, and then rapes Ilya and kills her.
So she knowingly would have sacrificed another infant. Wow.
She literally had the baby in her arms at right to the end. So she would have had to know. She would have had to be in on it if it happened. But
terrible.
I think the things counting against that are, would Jaime not have gotten wind of that? Because that's definitely something Jaime would have thought about at least. I'm not saying Jaime would have sold out a fake Aegon, but
it would have come up at some point.
It definitely would have come up in Jaime's thoughts. He wouldn't feel as guilty about those kids if that were the case. I think he's fake. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's fake.
Yep. And our last piece of mail from Thea on Podbean. Yay, a new episode. Thank you guys.
Aw, you're welcome.
You are welcome.
We love putting out new episodes. We love that.
Okay. You can reach us at closethedoorend@gmail.com, on Tumblr at closethedoorandcomehere at tumblr.com. Submit questions to the chapter threads on the Jaime and Brienne subreddit. Follow us on Blue Sky at closethedoorend.bluesky.social. Please like, review, subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, wherever you listen. And please support us on Patreon at Close the Door. I'm closing the door. Get out.